Mobo Joe, the Lacamo Show.
On the real, once again, it's your boy Lacamo, and you watching the Lacamo Show. Today's topic, we're gonna be talking about the most valuable job on the planet. That's right, and that job is being a parent. Me, Lacamo, growing up, making kids young. I was a single parent. I had my two oldest sons. I did have help with my girlfriend at this time. It was a rough job, you know. I lost my dad young. At this time, the crack epidemic came in. You know, I was young. I didn't have no place to go to learn to be, become a young parent. It's like it's no place that really you can go and learn these things. So today I want to talk about parenting because I got young sons that's not my biological sons, but sons that I mentor. And a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I was talking to this one son of mine that I mentor, and we had went to the truck show in Wildwood. And on our way back, we got into a deep, conversation about at this time, his son was like 10 years old. And we was talking about the music, the hip hop music. I'm into hip hop. I did a lot of music that I don't condone that I did anymore. So we was talking about the music, and I was trying to explain to him the difference between teaching his son the things about the music. He was trying to explain to his son the difference between Tupac and the difference between NBA Youngboy, right? So me, I done went through this because I had kids young. So I'm trying to tell him on the difference, but I'm trying to explain to him that you got a man at this time, I guess he had to be at least 35 years old. You telling a 10-year-old boy this difference, and you want what you telling him to break it up in his mind at 10 years old and understand what you're telling him. You know what I'm saying? Really, it's unfair to that kid to have to distinguish this stuff. And how we got here is because his son, his son had a phone at 10 years old. I don't believe that a kid 10 years old, 5 years old should have a phone. And I'm going to get deeper into this and give y'all the reason why I feel this way. Because what he was telling me about the music, he was like, well, I don't listen to it around him. He listened to it on his phone, right? So me trying to explain it to him, he tells me, he said, well, Pop, because he called me Pops, right? He said, I didn't really agree with him having a phone, but my wife kind of convinced me the reason that he needed a phone, right? So I'm like, all right, I understand that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm telling him because he's telling me things that this 10-year-old boy is getting into, right? So I tell him, I said, man, when you get home, you really have a sit down with your wife because these phones is a deadly weapon to these kids. You got to be very careful if you're going to give these kids these phones. You got to monitor these phones, right? So long story short, we gets back. So everybody know me. I kind of, I shut my day down early. So we get back, maybe about 8:30, 9 o'clock, he texts me, asking me if I'm still up. And I was like, yeah, I'm still up. He said, well, I'm going to hit you in a little bit. I need to talk to you. In my mind, I'm thinking, man, he done went home, talked to his wife and probably done got into it about this conversation. Well, this what happened. He called me. He said, man, what you was talking about is so real because when I went to talk to my wife, she told me she needed to talk to me. Well, what happened, he got a daughter, 7 years old. She has a phone. A 7-year-old girl got a phone. So his wife sat him down and said she went through the little girl phone at 7 years old, right? She went back a month and a half. People, the 7-year-old girl had been watching little gay boys and little gay girls on the phone, 7 years old, right? She exposed to this now. Once your eyes see something or your ears hear something, it's there. It's on your hard drive. You can't get rid of it. See what I'm saying? So parents, y'all have to understand some of this stuff. All right. So my other son that I mentor, he like my nephew. He lives in Alabama. He was at the truck show too. So I noticed his son happened to have a phone too. So after me and my son had this conversation, the next day I text him. I said, hey, Neff, when you're free, I need to holler at you about something. This is how deep this stuff get, right? So he said, okay, I'll hit you in a minute. He hit me. So I'm like, man, look, I say, I know, because him and my son, they like to say I'm age, right? So I said, man, I seen your son had the phone. So I goes to tells him about what happened with my son with his 7-year-old daughter have the phone. When I goes to telling it to him, he said, damn, Lacamo. I said, damn, what's going on? He said, man, go ahead, finish. So I tell him what's going on. He said, well, maybe a month before that, he gets a phone call from his wife, right? His wife said, well, I need to talk to you. He said, okay, go ahead on with it. His wife tell him the 13-year-old daughter got a phone. She goes to her phone. Guess what she been doing? She been watching little gay girls on her phone. So he tells me that he told his wife he didn't want his kids with no phone. What his wife do? She convinced him because the pandemic was going on, they was doing the homeschooling, that the kids needed a phone, right? He disagreed. So when she called him, he tell her, he said, okay, where is your pants at now? Because you call this shot, right? Where's your penis at now? Because it's something that you call. He said, I'm going to call you back. See what I'm saying? So he said when he gets home, because he's a truck driver too, he get with his wife and they have this conversation. He don't know how long that his daughter been going at this little girl, because he said when he looked at all the text messages, she was the aggressor, right? Tells another friend, he got a boy and a girl, 10, 11 years old. Come to find out, he getting on his son about something with the music. His son said, yeah, you need to get on my sister because she been watching the cucumber challenge. She acting this out with a banana. So I'm just trying to bring awareness to you parents, you young parents. These phones are, I'm not going to just say phone, I'm going to say the electronic devices, because the laptops, the tablets and all. It's a deadly weapon to your kids if you're not really, really monitoring. I know these speakers on these phones can be activated at any time. And what I believe in my mind, that these people are laying there hearing these kids playing on these phones, and they're going in there and they're shooting this stuff to these kids while you parents are not aware. So my job here at the Lacamo Show on the Real is to bring awareness to these things that are going on. At the Lacamo Show, the things I'm saying is not for everybody. If you disagree, just don't listen to the show, don't watch the show. But for you people who going through some of the stuff that I'm talking about and experience these things, like, share. We got to get information out, because right now we are losing this younger generation. They're trying to push all this stuff on us. They're putting it all in the cartoon, everything. It's by design to depopulate the world, because two little girls getting together can't bring a life in this world. Two little boys getting together cannot bring a life in this world, because the way the Creator created us, you have to have a vagina and a penis to make these things happen. No matter what man do. That's why I said on my first topic, man is the worst creature on earth, because all these concepts that we have was given to us by man. This your boy Lacamo. Listen to me, man. Pay attention to your kids when they got these devices. I know, you can block some of these things out, but these hackers, these perverts, they gonna have a way of getting in. I seen something years ago on one of the world news to where this lady went to the toy store and she had a newborn and she bought this device so when the baby's sleeping, it's play this music, right? So for 3 or 4 nights in the middle of the night, the baby was waking up crying. So she couldn't figure out what was going on. So what she did, she put a recorder in the room. So while the baby's sleeping, she want to know what's going on. Well, come to find out, this device she bought from the toy store to play this music for the baby, it was hacked by a hacker. So he goes in there, and will play these horrible sounds and wake the baby up. This was on world news. I don't know what news, but this was on world news. These people is out to destroy these young kids' mind. So I want y'all to be aware because this is my works as the Lackamoe, losing my 2 kids, my 2 oldest kids. I got 1 son left. He's 24. I lost my youngest son at 20. I lost my second son a few weeks ago at 36 years old. You know what I'm saying? Man, we're in some horrible times. We got to get a hold to understanding, the way I come up, these kids not having a childhood. You know what I'm saying? They're not getting enough outdoors. They're not getting enough, we as parents, we want to make kids young, bringing these liabilities into the world with no access to give them, and we want to give them things that we think are nice things, having phones, having these material things, but then we losing our kids. On the real, this your boy Lackamoe. Tap in, follow me, stay tuned, like, share. This is the Lackamoe Show, and I'm your host, Lackamoe. On the real.
Mobo Joe, the Lackamoe Show.